Wonderful. So here we are for the weekly Wednesday workshop. That flows easier than the Mindful Mondays meditation, I've just realized. Weekly Wednesday workshop. And today we are looking at cultivating mindfulness in our everyday lives. And what I've done for this is I've kind of tried to pin down the kind of essence of mindfulness and put it to three areas, 3 points of focus. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those, and then we're going to go into some meditation and some hypnosis to finish the session off, and to kind of help install a more mindful mindset for you. So when we're looking at mindfulness, I mean, it's everywhere, and there's people. Some people say it's this, some people say it's that. I'm actually on a course at the moment where the guy who runs it, he's brilliant, but he doesn't believe it's got anything to do with what anybody else in the world ever says it was about, which is interesting, because you're kind of saying that, the Buddhists, where mindfulness comes from, are wrong. And obviously they're probably not. And so it's difficult to pin down a set definition of what it is. But in essence, for me, mindfulness is the practice that brings us more into the moment, helps us live more fully in awareness of our feelings and our relationship with the world around us. It brings us into awareness of the present moment. So rather than living in the past and allowing things from the past to affect us, memories, past arguments, all that stuff that sometimes we can bring up, and rather than living in the future, where we're worrying about this, or what's going to happen if this happens, or what's going to happen when that happens, we're just taking each moment as it comes, being here now. And with that present moment and awareness comes a great freedom, a great release. You're no longer being held or contained by the past. You're no longer being cajoled by the future. You're just taking that moment for what it is. Experiencing that moment, experiencing you in that moment. And there really is only that moment ever, because we can't, I can't show you the me that was sat here planning and padding out today's workshop earlier on, because that moment is past. And I can't show you the me tomorrow that will be going and having lunch with my folks, because that moment hasn't arrived yet. There is only ever this moment. So what are some of the ways that we can practice, first of all, being in that present moment? And meditation teaches this almost automatically sometimes, actually. It's something that just happens the more we meditate. But the first is to practice observing without judgment. And the best way to do that is take moments throughout the day just to observe your surroundings, your thoughts and your feelings, and don't comment on it. Don't judge it. Don't analyze it. Just observe it. A bit like those moments where you see, maybe you're out and about in nature, and I always remember a moment when I first drove over a different route to the house that I'd moved into, and the house was in a valley with the Berwyn Mountains behind it. And I remember coming across, I actually pulled up the car in the end because it was such a profoundly beautiful moment. And I drove round and I pulled up, and all I could see was the valley. There was smoke rising up from some of the houses in the valley, and in the back there was the Berwyn Mountains. And I'm going to say it was, but it still is. It's one of the most beautiful views ever. And for a while, I just sat there in the car with the window wound down, just looking. I wasn't analyzing it. I wasn't thinking, oh, there's a mountain, and isn't that mountain tall? Or, oh, I would like to climb up that. I was literally just observing, no other thoughts, just taking it all in. That was a very much being present in the moment. So viewing our feelings, viewing the things around us without attaching judgments. Just simply notice and acknowledge them. Don't give it a label. Like I'm sat here now, I've got my statue of a Chinese man there and a plant here. And if I just look at them and I'm thinking, there's the plant, there's the statue, I'm labeling them. Or if I'm sitting here going, well, the plant looks like it could need watering, well, that's a judgment. Does need a little bit, I think. Check it afterwards. And we don't want any of that. The aim is to just sit here and I'm observing, I'm noticing the plant, I'm noticing the statue, I'm noticing the computer and the camera in front of me. Noticing a voice outside. And the voice outside is a good example because I could be going, that voice is really annoying, or oh, I hope that voice isn't bleeding into the microphone, or I wish that person out there would hurry up and go past the window so they're not speaking so loudly outside. But instead, if I'm just observing, it's just like, it's a voice. But even more so, I don't label it. I just go. And in that moment, your mind isn't blank. You're aware, but you're just not commenting. It's actually, as well, when you do that, really very relaxing. It feels like there's a whole lot of pressure off your mind all of a sudden, very quickly. So practice observing without judgment to help bring you more into present moment awareness. If you're doing something, if it's a job, a task, or even if it's something you're enjoying, engage fully in it. Really put all of yourself. Now, whether it's eating or spending time with others, strive to be fully present in the moment. If someone's talking to you, listen to them intently, observe them. If you're eating, and say you've nipped out for a bite to eat somewhere or something, or you've just made some food. I made a ramen this evening with prawns, and I tried a new sauce thing that I'd been given for my birthday, and oh my life, it was so tasty. In fact, I can still taste it now. It's great. And but rather than sitting there eating that meal going, oh, I've got to do this later on, and I'm on here later on, and I've got to do this tomorrow, you sit and you just get absorbed, get lost in. And if you've ever done a craft or an arty thing, you'll know what it's like when you really get lost into something. You're just like really just involved in it. Try to experience as many of the activities you do in life that way. Minimize the distractions and give your full attention to the task at hand. And really connect with your senses. We tend to, especially nowadays with so many demands, we're flitting here, flitting there, eyes are all over the place. But pay attention to your senses. So if you do stop for a moment, if you're eating, or if you've just made yourself a coffee or a cup of hot chocolate because it's winter time, and be there, look at it as you're picking it up, really observe it, get the smell from it. If it's hot chocolate and it's got bubbles on the top, you might even be able to hear those bubbles popping and making gentle noises as you tip it. And then be aware of the warm sensation in the mouth, aware of the taste, aware of the feelings that connect in with all that as you're tasting, smelling, and experiencing that. And that's a way of doing it with something quite tangible, but do it with when you're out and about. If you find yourself out and about in the countryside, stop for a moment, just even if you're in a vehicle, wind the window down. Take a breath, breathe it, hear it, listen to it. That's why walking's a really good way of dealing with stress, because when we walk, we tend to kind of focus more on what's around us. So we'll listen more, we'll see more, we'll be smelling more of what's around and sensing whether it's warm or cold, or if it's raining, and it takes us out of our forward thinking and our reverse thinking minds and just puts us in the moment. And 99.99% of any moment, we're okay. We're okay. So those are 3 things you can do to practice being more present in the moment, present moment awareness. Practice observing without judgment. Engage fully in activities and connect with your senses. The next section of this, the next essence of mindfulness, is a non-attachment to thoughts. So how do we do that? How do we develop a non-attachment to thoughts? Well, one of the things that we've done with IMeditate in the past is where we've done meditation, and quite often at the beginning of the meditation I'll say for you to repeat to yourself, I'm going to relax, I'm going to meditate. Everyday thoughts will not disturb me. They just breeze past like clouds in the sky. I'm sure if you've heard me say that once or twice. When we do that, when we treat our thoughts that way, we, instead of becoming entangled in them, we just observe them. If you think about this time of year, especially, sometimes you'll see it's getting to dusk, and you'll see a formation of geese flying across the sky, forming that V shape, and they shift, move, and in a way it's like watching them, seeing your thoughts almost like those geese. They're flying there, but you don't have to interact with them. You're not engaging with them other than just watching those geese fly by. And if you can do that with something out there, you can do it in here. The skill of not getting entangled and just observing is one that we can apply to so many areas of our lives. So allow your thoughts, spend time, whether it's in meditation or just in general. Sometimes when you stop, again, I always use having a brew as an example, but you're having a brew, there's a stream of thoughts. We're human, we think. Just watch them go by. Watch them go by, almost with that kind of, well, I could get involved there, but that's a hassle kind of idea. Just let those thoughts drift by and begin to realize that you really do not have to identify with every thought that arises. You do not have to engage with every thought that arises. It's quite more than okay to allow those thoughts, like we said, like clouds, to just drift by. And in doing so, cultivate a witness mindset. Imagine yourself as an impartial observer of your thoughts. Just imagine stepping out of yourself and watching you think. When you do that, it has almost, I find it has almost the same effect as that question you ask yourself, if your mind's going over and over and thinking, I wonder what my next thought's going to be. And suddenly your mind goes really quiet. Well, if you imagine stepping out of yourself and watching you watch yourself think, for a start, it seems to slow the thoughts down. Or you can imagine them going by on a movie screen. You don't have to engage with that other than just watch them go by. So cultivate a witness mindset. Be the observer. And this helps create a healthy distance between you and your mental chatter. And it fosters a more objective and less reactive mindset. When we meditate, we tend to slowly develop more of a less reactive mindset anyway. We stop kind of getting emotive when things happen, and we're able to observe it and make a better choice on how we move forward with it. And that's one of the benefits of being more in the moment. Rather than reacting based on past experience or preemptive response, when you're in the moment, you can just go, oh yeah, it's that. What's the best thing I do right now? Without the emotional, because you think about it, when something triggers an emotion, it can be exhausting. And sometimes those emotional responses are in the moment, it's automatic, and you but by cultivating a mindfulness mentality, by cultivating that witness mindset, you distance yourself. You have less of those emotive responses that can leave us exhausted. Another way of developing non-attachments to thoughts is to let go of rumination. Just stop. If you catch yourself dwelling on past events or worrying about the future, a little bit like we're meditating, or a little bit, I've used this example before, but when you're in a conversation and something distracts you and you miss out a bit of what somebody's saying to you, and then you go, oh, sorry, I'm back, and you bring yourself back. So if you notice that you're worrying about the past or worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, just stop. Just stop yourself, bring yourself back to now. Start going, okay, that's then, that's in the future. What's happening now? Oh, well, at the moment, sat here, got the plant that needs watering there, I've got that there. There was somebody outside who was making quite a bit of noise, but they've gone. And suddenly I'm not focusing on, because the past is done. You can't change any of that. You can learn from it, and then you can let it go. And the future isn't happening, and whilst it's not happening and it's not here, it's mutable, it's changeable, all things change. So to develop that non-attachment to thoughts, observe your thoughts, become the witness of your thoughts and mental chatter, and let go about worrying about the past or the future. You can't do anything about either of them in the moment, so you might as well just be here and enjoy the moment, because quite often the very moment has so much less stress or worry. And so the third aspect of mindfulness that I want to cover is developing a compassionate self-awareness. When we're in the moment, when we're paying attention to our thoughts, our feelings, when we're observing them, when we're just being now, we naturally develop more of an understanding and self-awareness of who we are. But then it's about treating yourself with that compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding. If you encounter challenges, there's always challenges, always something that comes up that we've got to go, right, I've got to deal with this now. Or if we make a mistake, we're human, we make mistakes. In fact, actually, if you look back through the history of the gods in most world religions and the history of humanity, even the gods make mistakes, mess up. So there will be challenges, we will make mistakes, but don't be harsh on yourself. We can really bully ourselves at times and speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend. So if you've got a challenge or you make a mistake, approach yourself with the same compassion you would offer to a friend. Be aware of your internal dialogue and really try and shift it to make it a positive conversation with yourself. So, for example, I'm working on this new show at the moment for next year, and earlier on today I spent some time on it, and I don't even know where it came from, because I very rarely have thoughts like this. But something came in. I was sat here, and it almost like something came in through the back of my head here. It's like, yeah, well, you're not good enough to pull this off. And I was almost like I was looking over my shoulder, go, where on earth did that come from? And I said, stop. I can do this, and I'm going to do it. But it's treating yourself with that same compassion and support you would a friend who was going through the same thing. Embrace your imperfections. Part of being compassionate is embracing the fact that you are perfectly imperfect. Understand nobody is perfect. Nobody in the world. That includes you. And accepting your imperfections and the imperfections of others with grace contributes to a more mindful and compassionate mindset. Acceptance is one of the things that comes when we practice mindfulness. We're able to just see things for as they are, beyond the illusion, beyond anything, and with compassion just accept. But work at that, not just with other people and their imperfections. People will mess up, people will do things in their life, and we know this, that will annoy us and get on our nerves, but they're perfectly imperfect too. They're just trying to be the best them they can be based on what they know. So learn to accept yourself and others and all those wonderful imperfections that we have. And we did a workshop on this not long back, but cultivate gratitude. Each day, reflect on the things that you are grateful for. It encourages and trains your mind to focus on the positives more, to build a positive perspective, and it helps shift your focus away from the things that stress you. We can all focus on those things that are difficult, all those challenges, all the stresses, or we can kind of go, well, yeah, but in this moment, I'm grateful of this and this and this. You know, earlier on, I sat down at the dinner table. I was grateful for that sauce that my brother had brought me for my birthday because it tasted delicious. So those are the three areas that I wanted to talk about: present moment awareness, non-attachment to thoughts, and compassionate self-awareness. And hopefully within that, there's some ideas and techniques that you can use to help develop and grow in your own mindful awareness. Something we can do, and again, if we're practicing meditation, this can help, is when we meditate, we very much, the more we do it, come into the moment. You know, when we're really into it, it's just us and our breath and our awareness in that moment. And one thing you can do to help develop a mindful, just general mindfulness in everyday life, is to anchor. And there's a workshop in the IMeditate members area on anchoring. It's in there, I think. Yes, it is. Anchor those mindful moments. So when you realize that you're just in the moment, observing and witnessing what's going on around you and within you, and you feel that centered, you feel that, you know, you're not worrying about the future, not worrying about the past, you are just now in this moment. Anchor that feeling. Every time you notice yourself in that moment, sometimes it happens when we daydream, just anchor yourself in that moment using that technique. I'll post the link with this for that. So that's enough of the ideas and the thoughts. Let's get into some meditation. And then after that, we'll go into some hypnosis to really help kind of start installing some of these ideas for you so you can develop more mindfulness and be more in the moment, more present now. So let's begin by having a stretch, having a fidget. And I want you to make sure you're not going to be disturbed too much. Just relaxing. Just follow your breath for a moment. That's right, just following your breath. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths in. And with each breath, you can just let go and allow yourself to relax a little bit more. Breathing in, hold it, and breathe out. Breathing in, hold it, and breathe out. Breathing in, hold it, and breathe out. Returning to your natural breath, just tell yourself, I'm going to relax, I'm going to meditate. Outside noises will not disturb me, everyday thoughts will not distract me. They just pass by like clouds in the sky. And then just follow your breath. For a while, just be aware of that place where the breath cools as you breathe in. Keeping your attention there, and if your mind drifts, just bring it back. That's it. Just following your breath. And I want you to bring that awareness from that point in your nose where you can feel the cool air, just up to a point, a place between the eyebrows, just a little bit higher. Just keep your awareness there. And all I want you to do for a little while is just watch and observe. Be aware of any sensations that you're feeling now in your body. Feelings of relaxation, feelings of tension, feelings of comfort. Be aware of the temperature of the room upon your skin. Be aware of how your body feels as you're sitting or lying. As you continue to relax, being aware of those things. Be aware of how your feet feel, how your legs feel, how your hands and your arms feel. Your neck, your shoulders, your back, your stomach, your chest. Just observe it. Don't judge it. Just be aware of feeling, of sensation. That's right. And then be aware of anything you can smell, any scent in the room. If you've been cooking not long back, maybe there's this faint smell of food, or if you've burnt incense or sprayed something. Maybe you can smell the smell of the washing powder on your clothes. Just be aware of anything you can smell and just observe it, just watch it. Just be aware of it. Just be aware of anything you can hear, the sound of my voice, sounds round about you. And again, don't let them disturb you, don't even judge them, don't name them. Just be aware that you are hearing. bring your awareness to your mouth and any tastes. If you've not long had a drink, maybe you can get a faint sense of the taste of that drink. But again, don't name it, just be aware that you are tasting. And although your eyes may be closed, be aware that you are seeing. Maybe there are colours dancing across the eyelids. Don't name them, just watch them. And turning inwards, be aware of any sensations within the body. Don't name them, just watch. Just observe, feel, sense. However you do that. And then turn your awareness to your thoughts. What thoughts are there, if any? But again, don't do anything other than observe them. Maybe you hear them, maybe you see them. Maybe you sense them, but however you experience your thoughts, just witness. Don't comment, don't name, don't judge. Like clouds in the sky. And observe this moment. Now, every place that is here, every time that is this, like this, and so much more like now, present. Then bring your awareness back to that point between your forehead, on your forehead, between your eyebrows. And as you're aware of that point between the eyebrows, on the forehead, aware of this moment and the sound of my voice, I wonder just how quickly you can, as I count from 5 to 1, drift into a wonderful state of hypnosis now, having relaxed and brought yourself more into the present. And there is nothing to do, just relax as I count down with each word that I speak and every breath you take. And I wonder whether you'll go into hypnosis on the start of the count at 5, whether you'll wait till 3, or maybe you wait till 1 before you go into hypnosis. But whenever you go into hypnosis, you can enjoy this. That's 5, letting go. 4, unwinding, relaxing. 3, midway point. Become aware of that place that's most comfortable. And allow that feeling of comfort to spin and flow within you. 2, 1, all the way down. That's right. And I want you, in your mind's eye, to create an image of yourself. A you that has practiced and almost perfected being in the present moment. A you with present moment awareness. See a you awake to what's going on in this moment and then that moment. A you that can observe your thoughts, the actions of the world about you, without judgment, without labeling. Just see you as the ultimate observer. See that you doing activities and being fully present in those activities, giving everything, giving your attention fully to whatever activity is. See that you, not distracted, but focused with full attention on the task at hand. Notice how that focused, present you is moving, acting, interacting. And notice that you, who is also connected deeply with your senses, grounding yourself in the present by paying more attention to your sight, the sounds, smells and tastes and sensations all around you. And every time you practice, and every time you pay attention to your senses, you can anchor your awareness of the present moment even more deeply. See that you now, present, fully engaged with life, connected and grounded by awareness of your senses. And step into that you, try that you on. See how that you sees, hear and feel and sense how that you feels and senses, and know and understand everything that you knows and understands that allows you from this moment forward to be more present in the moment, to observe without judgment, to observe what's going on around you and within you by simply noticing and acknowledging all that's going on without labeling. As you're trying that you on, taking on board everything that allows that you to be fully engaged in activities and connected and grounded through your senses, you notice another you who's let go of attachment to the past and the future, another you who is not worrying about what may happen or is no longer being affected by what has happened, but a you that is happy and content in this moment. See a you who, instead of becoming entangled in your thoughts, observes them as though they pass by like clouds. See a you that understands that thoughts come and go, and you do not have to identify with every thought that arises. See a you that's the ultimate witness to your train of thoughts. See how that you is. See how that you moves, see how that you speaks, see how that you relaxes in every moment, grounded, not attached, stepping back from the direct influence of thoughts and being able to observe them and to interact differently with a non-attachment to your thoughts. See that you and step into that you. Try that you on. See what that you sees, hear how that you hears, know, feel and understand everything that you knows, feels and understands that allows you now to begin to develop a stronger non-attachment to your thoughts. No longer dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, focusing in the present moment. Letting go of attachment to specific outcomes or anything that would cause stress and anxiety. Really get a feel for that you. That's right. And as you're trying that you on, you notice another you, a third you, a trinity of yous. This one has vast amounts of self-compassion. Compassion for yourself, treating yourself kindly with understanding. Knowing that we're perfectly imperfect, knowing that we make mistakes and that we face challenges. But approaching you with such compassion and self-kindness. A you whose internal dialogue is like the best supportive coach ever, encouraging and supporting in all that you do. See a you who has embraced your imperfections. Has gone, yeah, this is me, and that is good enough. See a you who's accepting of those imperfections. And see a you who each day notices those small little gifts that the day brings. Those little things for which you can be grateful. See that you, compassionate, kind and compassionate to yourself and to others. A deep, compassionate self-awareness. See that you now and step into that you. Discover that compassionate self-awareness now. See what that you sees, hear how that you hears, know, feel and understand everything that you knows, feels and understands that allows you now to cultivate and develop a deep level of compassionate self-awareness. That's right. And in a moment we're going to take some time in silence, just long enough, and it will be just long enough for you to integrate all that you've gained from those three aspects of yourself. The present moment awareness self, the non-attached to thought self, and the compassionate self-awareness self. Each within you, they're yours, they always have been. And now, moving forward, you can begin to discover their gifts in bringing you into the moment, making you more mindful of this moment, not living in the past or reaching for the future too hard. Just now, in this moment. Integrating all that you've gained, even if you're not aware of it all yet. And bringing it back to now. And now really is all that we have, this moment in time. And how much more can you enjoy life? How much more can you get from life? By being present, grounded in the moment, interacting and experiencing life as it unfolds. On the very edge of creation, unfolding each day. And tonight as you sleep, I want your unconscious mind to dream a beautiful dream. And within it to present all that you need to live fully present in the moment. That awareness, that non-attachment to thoughts, and that compassion for yourself will continue to grow deeply within you now, spilling out into everyday life, and you will find it easier to cultivate in everyday life a more powerful and wonderful mindfulness mindset. And in a moment I'll count from 1 to 5. 1 is where you are now, 5 can be eyes open, wide awake, back here, back now, feeling great, feeling very much present. That's 1, every cell fiber coming back. 2, to really be in this moment from now on. 3, take a deep breath in for me. Feeling the oxygen, feeling it going around the brain, the body, feeling it all refreshing, revitalizing, feeling good. 4, ready to embrace the moment more frequently with greater awareness. And 5, eyes open, stretch, fidget, feel good now.